Hi everyone, welcome to another video from Mesolight Visual. I am Dominic, and in this video we'll go through the process of creating a high quality industrial architecture style model in ArchiCAD. We will build the structure you see on your screen from scratch, covering all the essential steps and ensuring we extract detailed drawings from the model. Let's get started. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all our patrons for their invaluable support. If you are not a patron yet, you are missing out. Becoming a patron is the best way to support the growth of this channel. Check out our patron membership to gain access to the resources and assets we create on a weekly basis. The link is in the description. You can also visit our website msbeam.store for comprehensive resources such as ArchiCAD templates, projects, details, object packs, and much more to optimize your workflow and achieve great results in both academic and professional projects. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and if you're feeling extra generous, please share it as well. Alright, the first thing to do is to set up our project. So I'm going to select all the elevation markers on the floor plan, and next open its settings. Then let's go to the marker symbol section and change the marker style to circle 4. Then I'll go back to the marker section as well and set this to be 12 millimeters. Right, and then I can hit OK to apply the changes. Next, it will be setting up my stories. Let me just collapse all these opened folders and right click in one of the stories. Let's right click on one of the stories, then open the story settings, or you can hit Ctrl+7 in your keyboard as a shortcut key. And then from here we need to set up our stories. The first thing to do is to rename this according to the demands of or the requirements of this project. So I'm gonna set the story 2 to first floor. Then this will be the roof level. Then I'm going to insert another story above the roof level to be the tip of the building. Normally it's called apex. So the heights are fine. We'll keep it as 3 meters. The only height I will increase is the ground floor. I'm going to set it to 4,000 millimeters. I'm using millimeters for this demonstration. You can also use a different unit standards. It doesn't matter. So after this, you will hit OK to apply the changes. Right. So you could see now all these settings have been reflected on our view map here, which is a great thing to have. So let's open the ground floor, and then we're going to set up the grid system for this project. Let's go to the top menu of your interface under design, and let's find the grid system down below. Click on it. Then we have to set the parameters of our grids. So this will be done down below under grid positions. Okay, so let's make sure we collapse most of these folders here so that we can have enough window to work around. All right, so by default you will have all the list of the grid lines here, numerically and alphabetical. So I'm going to get rid of most of this, or reduce the number to set the number of the structure that we're creating. So I'm going to start with this one on the left. Let's get rid of this, and we're going to remain with only 3. So the distance between these grids is going to be 7,500, which is 7.5 meters, 7,500 millimeters. And then we move on to the right section. These are vertical grid lines. So we're also going to reduce the number and remain with only 2 grids. So this one is going to be basically the width of the building, which is going to be 14,000 or 14 meters. Let's say 14,000. All right. So once you're done, we hit OK to place our grid. But before we do that, you can also take advantage of this system and place your your structural elements such as beams and columns. So if you go to the grid elements, you can set up your grid elements by clicking on this. This is basically the graphical representation of your grid. So I normally want it to be in dashed lines. I don't want it to interfere with the structure, so I'll keep everything at dashed double. All right, and then I'll hit OK. The naming, I don't think it's, I'll keep this ArchiCAD default structure as it is, and then also the marker, I won't change anything on this one. Let's hit OK, and we want to go under the grid settings. Here, that's where we can determine what kind of elements, structural elements, we can place within our grid. So we have on the first place, this is the column. It's already active. You can change to choose whatever object or element. So I would like to have it as a column, and then I will have also the default beams on grid lines to be active as well. And let's go to the settings and set up this. So we want to have a beam, a complex profile beam. This is going to be a steel structural, but for now we can keep it as concrete, and then later on we swap or change it to steel beams. So I'm gonna leave it as it is for the time being, and then hit OK. So we can hit OK to apply now the changes. Let's do that. So this is the graphic representation of the grid system. So I will have to place it. I'm gonna use the origin point to place my grids like that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, and on the horizontal grids, then we have 2 on the vertical grids, which is basically forming the footprint of our building. So if you appreciate this on 3D, you would see we have only, I don't know why the columns are not appearing here. Something wrong happened. Even on the floor plan here, it doesn't show. So I will hit undo to get rid of this. Let's do it again. It's a good thing that that problem occurred, so that we can redo it again for those that were lagging behind. So let's go back again to the design, and then move down below to the grid system. Open it. Next, set up your positions. Already they are taking the previous settings that we already did. So here we're not going to do anything. We'll have to move here. So the problem occurred here. We didn't tick the elements at the grid line intersection. We need to activate this. We just did only for the beams, and then after we hit OK to apply the changes. Let's click on the origin point, then define the direction of your, or the orientation of your structure, then click to specify. Now we can able to see our columns in placed or on our grid. So also, if you check on confirm to the 3D, this is what we have. All right, so the next step is to set up our columns and beams, or our structural elements, to suit the needs or the standards of our structure. So I'm going to start with the columns, but before we tamper with the settings, we need to import the standard steel sections that we're going to use here. So if you go to options menu, then complex profiles, let's import standard steel profiles, right? So here we need to choose the code of your region. It doesn't matter what region you are. For this case, I'll go with this one. And then the geometry that I'm looking at is going to be the C. Let's go for the I section. Sorry, it's going to be the I section. And then I'll scroll down for the desired. Let me look for the preferred dimensions. Let's go down. I'm looking for something like 254 by 254. Even this will do the work. I don't know if there's any dimensions. Scroll down. Yes, we have this one as well. I would add the profile, and then another one that I'm looking for is the UC 152 by 152. I think it's this one. Let's add it. I'm also going to change the geometry to C section. Then the dimension I'm looking for here is 152 width by 72. Scroll down. 152. Yes, this is the one. Add. So once you're done with adding them to the list here, you will have to now select all of them, then import. Okay, we have our standard steel profiles in place, so we need to now set up our columns. So I'll activate the column tool in your design tool palette, then hit Ctrl A to select all the columns within your file. Then I'm going to open its settings. From here, let's go to the let's start with the positioning first. So I want this to go all the way to the roof level, and then I don't think I would need this set up to 0. Okay, ground from, is it roof level? Yes, I think 7 is fine. And then we need also to set up the profile, right? I'm going to go here under the segment, turn the structure to a complex profile, then let's key in the newly added profiles, which is 254 by 254 profile, then hit OK. There we go. We have our columns in place. These are steel columns, right? Okay, so let's move on to our beams. I'm going to do the same thing by activating the tool, and then hit Ctrl A to select all the elements under the tool within your file. Then open its settings. From here, I'm going to go to the segment part, then change the structure to the complex profile. Then I'm going to set this to be the beam is going to be the same profile with the columns. 254, yes, this one. Hit OK, something like that. Perfect. So I'm going to move on to the next stage, which is going to be the foundations of this. We didn't create the level for our foundation. I think let's do so. I'm going to right click in one of the story here, or hit Ctrl 7 to activate the story settings in your keyboard. I'm going to insert below the ground level. Let's insert the story below. I'm going to call this footing or foundation. Footing or foundation level. I'm going to set it around because it's an industrial. It's an industrial structure. I'm going to set it around 1 meter height or 1000 millimeters. Then let's hit OK. From here, we are going to take advantage of the positions of the placed columns. So let's select all the columns like we did before. I'm going to activate the column tool, hit Ctrl A. Then we need to duplicate this with the same position. So I'm going to zoom in here, and then Ctrl Shift D to activate the copy mode. You could see your cursor with the plus sign. That's a representation of you are carrying a copy, or you are in a copy mode, a copy command. So I'm going to pick from the center point or the reference line point. Let's click on here. Then we're carrying a copy. I'm going to place it back to the point, to the same point like that. Okay. From here, I will set these elements to be linked with the foundation level, right? And then let's change the profile to be just a rectangular. Then the material will be reinforced concrete, which is fine. And then we need to set the link story to be the ground floor, okay, so that it can be like that. Perfect. This creates a base geometry for our footing, so we'll have to go ahead and add more details. That will be the next step. Let's see how we can put details to this one. What I have is it's not a popular methodology on how to create footings using columns in ArchiCAD. So I'm going to open its settings. Then let's set up the segment structure of our footing. So I'm going to change this from the single to a multi segmented profile. So we'll have to add or list all the segments we want to have in our footing here. So I'm going to add 3. It's going to be 3, right? Yes, it's going to be 3 segments, if not 4. Yes, it's 3 segments, right? So this segment is dependent on the height, on the total height of our column. So what I need to do, I need to come here under the percentage. We need to segment it based on the percentage of the height. So the bottom segment is going to be the actual the base footing or concrete base. So I'm going to set it to be, I don't know, we have to do the math. If it's going to be 300 millimeters high, so that means it's going to take, let's say, 25%, right? And then this one is going to take, or we can just quickly do the math. I'm going to open, let's open the calculator so that I do it through here. All right, so we have 300 over a meter, which is the total height, or the height of our footing, multiply, it's going to be 30%. Okay, this is going to change to 30%. I said, oh sorry, this one, the bottom one. And then second segment, which is going to be 600 high, so we'll have to also do the math. So it's going to be 600 over a meter. It's going to be 60%. This one I'm going to set it to 60%. And then lastly, this is going to be I'm supposed to have 4. Let's add another segment. I'm supposed to have 4 here. This will be more like a taper at the top of your footing. It's going to be 100 millimeters high. So these two are going to be on the same height, right? And that means they're going to share. This is supposed to be 30. What happened here? This is supposed to be 30%, and then these two, if this is 30, 60 is 90, so we're left with 10. So these two are going to be on 5% each. So I hope I'm not confusing you with this. Sorry about that if you are confused. So yeah, basically these are the top one is going to be the if you look at the detail, the footing detail of a concrete column to the steel column connection, you normally have a base plate on top of your concrete footing for your foundation. So I'm going to set this material to be steel. Let's go for steel structural, and then this will be fine as reinforced concrete. All this will be reinforced concrete. Okay, so and then from here, what is important now is the width, or the width of these elements, of these segments. So the footing itself, the base concrete, is going to be 1 meter wide. Oh sorry, what am I doing? I'm changing the percentage instead of this is supposed to be, I've messed up the whole thing. This is supposed to be 60. No. It's supposed to be 30. This is supposed to be 60. And then this 2 will be 5%. What's going on with this? 30, 60. Something is wrong. If it's, oh, okay, let's make this 2.5. Yes, and then or maybe this, we make it 5, and then we make this 30, this 62, then this 5, and this one also 5. 30, 65%, 5%, correct. Okay, sorry guys to take long to doing this. I don't know why it was messing me up. So I will like I said, the material also are critical. So the first one is the top plate, and then all this is concrete. So now we need to set up the widths of the elements. So instead of setting it here, which I wrongly did before, that's why I ended up messing up the entire structure. So you need to set up the widths here. So I'm going to link the dimensions first, then set the footing to be 1 meter wide or 1000 meter wide. You could see on your preview, this is basically what we try to achieve. This as well, we need to also set it to be, this is 500, right? Let's also link that and make it 500 width. Yes, 500, I think, if not 450. Let's see. Yes, somewhere. Okay, and then these ones are going to be, this one is going to be a tricky one because I need to taper it instead of having it straight. And but before I taper it, this, let's set the width of this, link it, and this is going to be 400 wide. Then this also is going to be, so I'm going to taper this one, make it chamfered around by changing it to this tapered size, right? Let's select it, and then at the bottom, the base of it is going to be, I'm going to link this, the base of it is going to be 450, which is the entire width of that upstand beam, and then you could see the results there. And this one at the top is going to be 400 to accommodate the base plate on the top. Okay, that makes it interesting. Then hit OK. We have this kind of footing in place. Right, it takes a little bit longer, but the results are remarkable. So this is basically how you create column footings in ArchiCAD. Alright, so you can zoom in here and see the base plate. I think the base plate is too thick, so if you want to be really realistic with your dimensions, you can go back to select all this. I will have to go to the foundation level, then activate the column tool, hit Control A to select everything. Let's open its settings. Then I want to change the height of my base plate. Instead of 50%, let's make it 2.5%. And then yes, this will change to 7.5, which is okay. Let's hit OK. Set up on a 3D window and see. Right, it looks interesting. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the next stage, which is going to be the floors, and then we'll later do the roof structure. Okay, I'm going to go to the ground floor, and let's activate the slab tool. I'm not going to use the composite for the ground floor slab. Let's just use a normal or a basic structure. The material should be reinforced concrete, and place your, I'll use the geometry method of rectangle to place this all the way to there. Set up on 3D and check the results. Zoom in here. Okay, you could see now it's trimming nicely around the base plate, which is a great thing. You could go ahead and add some bolts and nuts around here if you want to be really realistic, but for this demonstration, let's keep it this way. Architecturally, I think this is good enough for extracting high detailed drawings. Right, so let's move on to the first floor. I could just manipulate this that I already placed. Let's select the slab, then Control Shift D. I'm gonna just carry a copy maybe to this level, and then I'm going to set it to be on the first floor under the linked stories. Let's set it to be first floor. There we go. First floor. Make sure it's on 0, the base offset. Let's set it to 0 so that it becomes like that. So that is the chance now for us to adjust our beams to be underneath, because this concrete slab, I'm going to use what you call the echo slab. These are basically a precast hollow section floor slab that normally used on this kind of structure. So they are going to be installed on top of this steel beam. So we need to select all these beams and make sure they are underneath or they are accurately positioned. So I'm going to start by linking to the first floor, then set them to 0. It has to be underneath the floor slab, so you can either see the height of this. I think let's make it 150 because it's a floor slab. It's the first floor slab. Then we need to select all these beams. We can do also on the section for accurate positioning. Let's go to the ground floor and place our section. So go to the viewpoint, then activate the section 2. I'm going to draw a section from here across like that. Then the viewing direction will be on this side. I want it to capture this framework. Right, so I can select the section, right click, or I can just come here under sections. It's been listed there, and then open it from there. Right, so we need now to select all our beams. I'm going to activate the beam tool and hit Control A to select all the beams, then Control D to drag it underneath our floor slab like that. So we have those that are remaining. I could see this one. To address this problem, let's go to the 3D, and then I'm going to pick parameters of this, then Control Alt in your keyboard to inject to the remaining beams. Let's inject to them. Let's see the side. So we need to intersect these two. Select both of them, intersect. Let's check on the side as well and perform the same operation. Let's intersect. Okay, so that's basically that. We have our floors in place. Like I was saying, I'm going to use precast concrete floor slab. So normally it comes, let me find an image so that you can see what I'm talking about. I hope I have it here. Echo. Yeah, this is the kind of floor slab I'm looking at. So the positioning, you see it's resting on either concrete or steel structure. So we'll have to also create a detail of how it will support the beams and the beams to the columns. But in our case, we can weld or use different methods because it's a different materials. Right, let's go back to our structure. So now to create that impression or the detail of a hollow section slab, that is quite challenging. Unfortunately, we don't have it. We don't have a feature in ArchiCAD that could, mimic that. However, I have a brilliant way of achieving that. So let's go to the the first floor under your view map. Let's open the first floor. I'm going to use an object. Let's activate object 2, open its settings. Let's search for battings. Right, if you search for battings, this is what I'm looking for. I'm going to use this. I'm sure you're wondering how. Mainly for timber. This is mainly to support either for the purlins or for the ceiling blanderings, support structure. So I'm going to go here under the profile settings and then set the dimensions of because this is going to represent those hollow or holes within our slab. So I'm going to set the height of this to be 100 and the width also to be 100. The spacing will be 200, so I'm going to have 100 spacing. Okay, yes, I'm going to have 100 distance between the elements or the holes. And then the roof pitch, because this is meant for roof or ceiling, so I'm going to set it to be 0 because 100%, I mean, we're on a horizontal plane, and then hit OK. But before we do that, we need to change the material first. Okay, because it's mainly for timber. I'm going to come here, then scroll down to down below. You should find, okay, we don't have it here under floor plan section. It shouldn't be here either way, so it has to be under profile. Let's click on the next page. You'd see we have the building materials, and you are going to set this to be concrete, either reinforced or let's just go with concrete structural, and then hit OK. I'm going to place it here, then let's stretch it on the sides like that all the way. Do I really want it to be this way? I'm going to rotate to orientate it in this way. Okay, but before I do that, the first floor slab won't be covering the entire footprint of the building, so it has to go all the way to the center or the midpoint of the building, something like this. Let's make sure it's right in the midpoint of your column like that. Okay, so from here I'm going to stretch this all the way to there, then pick this point to stretch it horizontally. Do the same on the other edge as well. Okay, so check on 3D. We need to align this. Let's set this to be right within the footprint or the geometry of your floor slab. So I need to reposition my section to cut this, then right click, open with current view settings, and we can nicely position this. I'm going to drag it roughly there. So the floor slab is around 150 and then this is 100, so I need to position it by 25 from the bottom and then 25 from the top. So I'm going to move this up by 25 millimeters just to make sure it's on the center like that, and then make sure on the edge it doesn't really go all the way and cut here, because structurally it won't be ideal, like on this edge for an example. So I will have to stretch it, maybe put it to there. Let's check on the side. It didn't stretch. We can either stretch it from here, stretch it all the way to there. Perfect. This way you know you have a working, but the distance should be equal. So I will have to move this by the center, which is 50, so that we can leave the same amount of space on the other edges. All right, perfect. I think it's perfect like this. And then now I can use the solid element operation to subtract this from the concrete. So I'm going to select the concrete, right click, go to connect, solid element operations, and automatically or by default ArchiCAD will pick the selected element within the file as a target. As you see, we have just one target. We need to add an operator, which is going to be our buttons. Let's add this operator, and then the operation will be just subtraction. Okay, one thing that is important, let me just do execute, and then we'll come back and I'll show you another mistake. Execute, and then I'm going to select the two, and then we can right click and show selection in 3D. Okay, There we go. I'm gonna select the buttons, set the layer to be hidden. Perfect. So this is what we've created. It's pretty much closer to this, the real precast echo floor slab. Okay, so that's basically that in terms of the slab. I think it should go all the way on this side. I don't know why it didn't go all the way. So let's Control L and bring all the layers, the hidden layer, activate it, and stretch this all the way. Even if it's protrude, doesn't matter because it's always on hidden, like so. Perfect. And you can see we have a wall going all the way. Nice one. All right, let's move on to the next section. I'm going to right click and show all in 3D. Perfect. All right, unless you really need to be that detailed, but architecturally, I think if you can provide a floor slab without those perforations, it will be pretty good for architectural drawings. But if you really want to be, you know, super realistic and produce high quality details, you have to think about this sort of small and pay attention to that. All right, let's move on to the roof structure. The roof structure we're going to use more like steel as well. It's going to be more like a portal cabin or a framework, a portal frame structure. So what I will need is to have also the beams as the tool going up. So I'm going to select all these horizontal beams that cuts across like that, and then Control Shift D to make a copy to the top like that. Okay, and then I will have to set this to be at a roof pitch, an angle of the roof. So I'm going to open its settings and go to this beam section. Then let's change this to a slant beam or sloped beam, whatever. Set the pitch to 23 degrees, then hit OK. I think I need to position it or link it with the roof instead of the first floor. So I'm going to change the link to roof, then set this to be the offset height to be 0, then enter. Perfect. That's basically what I want. Now the connection, I see we have a problem here. We have a problem because it can't, practically it won't connect like this. I think the orientation of this beam should be the other way around. I mean, for the column should be the other way around in order to promote a structural connection. It has to be on this side. So we need to go to the plans and change that. So let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to come up with a way to change this automatically instead of change it manual. Okay, I think I could select this by hold shift and then add the selection. You know, it's always a best practice to group elements that are on the same category, like this one. Let's just group them for future selections tasks. So what I want to do is to go here under the settings, and I would want to, there should be a point, let me check here. Yes, the axis rotation is what I'm looking for. Let's rotate this to be 90 and see. Perfect. So this is what I wanted. Wow, it works. Okay, a lot of ways of making it work in ArchiCAD. So this is a true example of it. All right, so from here we need to select our beams, our roof beams. Then I'll also group them because they should be on the same groupings. So from here you see the positioning is based on the reference line of the beam, but I need this to be positioned from the top, not in the midpoint, right? So I'm going to open its settings, then oh wow, I thought I'll use the reference axis to change it to there. Unfortunately, I cannot do that, so I'll have to go manually on the section and adjust that. So let's go to our section and then select this. Make sure the suspend groups is active so that you can position all the beams once. Then I'm gonna bring it down to this level, and then again this has to start right on the surface, on the edge of your column, instead of going all the way like that. So I would need to activate suspend group so that I can ungroup these elements in order for me to access the stretch command. If you pick this reference point, you will access this stretch on your part palette. I'm going to stretch all the way to here, and then it will require me again to bring it down to flush with the top end of our column. So that's basically how this is being done. Okay, check on 3D. I hope all these elements have been affected. No, it's only changed one, so I can also pick the parameter of that one, and then by the use of Control Alt or the inject parameter, I can inject this parameter to, it's not happening. Wow, pick parameter, then inject. What happened? It's not happening, so it will require me to do it manually. So I will have to do it in 3D again. No, this is not gonna work. I'll have to adjust my section, adjust the section all the way to there, and go back to the section, select this one, stretch like that, bring it down to the top end of the column, do the same to this one, bring it down to the end of the column. But I think I can, future projects, I can avoid this kind of tedious process by making sure the positioning first before I change the profile or the structure of the column. I should always determine the reference line point within the beam. Okay, so that's basically it. Sometimes you need a little time to resolve this kind of things. So I'm pretty happy with the connection. You could see it's practically well sound. So we'll move ahead, or move forward with other structural elements. So this roof is not going all the way. We have another element on the side. So I'm going to go to the roof level, select these, and then it has to end on the half, not going all the way like that. So I'm going to use the adjust tool to adjust this to the level, to this level. Wow, it went to the opposite direction. This is not what I want. Or I can just do it once like that. I thought I could do it once, all of them. Okay, let's see on 3D. Perfect. So now I can mirror a copy to the other side. Control Shift M, mirror a copy, and let's see. Perfect. Perfect. And again, there's a little bit of detail on the top or on the roof edge of this design, so it's more like a cap that will create a clear story windows to either ventilate or provide the sunlight within the space. So what I need to do is to adjust either let's say if I to adjust this all the way to somewhere there. Yes, I think that will work. Yes, I want to create a clear story window here. We can increase it. I can make it 9.6. here, something like that. Okay, let me go to the section and measure the height because it has to be a certain height. So let's activate the measure tape. 1.3. So I could fit around a meter high window there, which is pretty much impressive. So yeah, I think it's perfect like that. So what I need to do is to place the vertical member, because it has to be one truss. I can pick this column, Control Shift D, and or I can just activate the column tool, change the structure to complex, and then I'm going to change the profile. It's not going to be the same profile because it's just for supporting the window. So I'm going to go with a lesser size on this one. So I think 152 would work. I've imported 152i section already, so I can just place a column. Could I draw a column here? No. So I thought I'll do that. So I'm going to Control Shift T and carry the copy of this to there. Set this to be on the roof level, and 0, which is the base offset. I'm going to stretch the height all the way to the center or the midpoint of that, and the same with that one. Let's change the size to 152. Okay, and then I'm going to move it right on the inside. Yes, like that. All right, to clean up the edges or to clean up the connections, what you need to do is let's see first on 3D. Okay, so I need to clean up the edges, so I'm going to use the solid element operations. The connections are very critical on this. So this is going to be the operator, and then this will be the target. So because I want to eliminate the top part just to remain, I want this to go to the underside of the beam. So I'm going to use the subtraction with upward extrusion operation, because I want to get rid of the upside or at the upside of the column. Hit OK, execute. It's not working. Let's do it again. This is going to be our operator. You're going to be the target. Execute. It's not happening. There's something wrong. Let's drop it down here. I'm not sure why it's not happening. You should be able to cut this, or I can go here on the column settings. I know you can change the cuts on the end of your reference axis. So let's see how this would work. I'm going to move it this, that. Let's set this to be an angle. I'm going to use 23, so that means it's going to be 77. Let's see. Yes, it's working. So I need to go back to the section and set it here on the section. I can also make it, adjust it manually by clicking on the point. Then on the pet palette, you're going to change it to rejoin angle, so that I can just do this way. Perfect. Let's do the same to the bottom side of the column, which is this. Set it to 67 degrees. Enter. Stretch it all the way to there. Pick the profile again, stretch or rotate like so. It worked pretty well. Oh, there's a line there that needs to be eliminated. It's not that accurate. Let me go all the way to there. Perfect. It's 100% clean cut. We have an issue also here to address, which is this. We can do the same as well. I'm going to stretch it to right there. then open its settings. I will have to identify which side is this. I'm sure it's the end part. Let's see, this one should be 23. All right, it's the one. I can pick the point, then rotate to rejoin. Perfect. I have now a clean connections between the three members, right, which is a very impressive thing to achieve. So check on 3D to appreciate the progress. In order for you to orbit around your project effortlessly without, sometimes when you try to orbit, you see elements will be moving away from the focal point. So to achieve that, you'll have to select the element that you want the orbit to be focused on. For example, if this, I can now orbit like this, so this will be more like a center of attraction, or center point of the rotate or the orbiting. That's especially when you're dealing with big projects, this tends to happen more often. So if it happens, this is the solution, right? Okay, so now I need to duplicate this to the other column, so I don't need to have these ones like that. I'm going to get rid of this. Then let's group these two because we're going to multiply it, right? Go to the roof and select that. Make sure the suspend group is inactive, or it's grouped, or it's in a grouped mode. Then let's select this to run a copy. Either I can run a copy by using multiplication, or you can drag multiple copies. I like to use multiplication if these are more than 10 or even 5, more than 5, because there will be a lot to manually do. But if it's 3 of them, I would use drag multiple copies, and then just place it like that. Even this one, because we have the elements that are not within this window, this message will pop out. It says, as a result of the last operation, elements have been created and or have changed their position on the current unseen stories. Those unseen elements, they are above this level, either above or under this level. So you'll just have to hit continue, because remember, we're copying a grouped elements like the column and then the beam. Okay, so this is basically the result, what we've created so far. Perfect. So we'll move on to detailing the roof structure. We'll have our purlins and then put the roof roofing sheets, and then we can later do the envelope, which is basically the wall structure of this building. Let's move forward and create the roof finish. So I'm going to place the purlins using the beam tool. So I'm going to do that in the roof layout. So I'm going to activate the roof layout. Then from here, I would also want to see the footprint of the building. So I'm going to right click on the ground floor level, then show this as a trace reference, so that we can have the geometry of our slabs. So from here, let's activate the beam tool. I'm going to change the structure to be a complex profile and set the size to be, I remember we imported the size, which is let's find the purline. Should be 154, 152. Yes, C section. So 152, which is this one, right? So I'm going to start placing the first purline on this edge. It should go all the way to there. Make sure it's also, I'm gonna stretch it to this edge as well. So if you check on 3D, let's move or position our section right in the center of our structure. Let's open the section. All right, I could tell it's in the angle has been tempered, so we need to set the angle to be 0. Let's go for a flat. Right, Then I'm going to drag it down by Control D. Let's drag it right on the edge here, and then I'm going to also position it somewhere here. Yes, just like the other elements, we need to rotate this to suit the profile of the roof, which is 23 degrees. So you can either go to the settings and then set it here, or you can just do it right on your section. I'm going to click on one of the points here. Which one? I think it's this one. This one doesn't give us that feature or the command to rotate. I think we should pick it from this. We now have rotate on, so I can rotate on this. Should be 23 degrees because our roof pitch is 23. Right, from there we can move. I'm gonna pick it from there, drag it to the position like that. Okay, now I can run multiple copies, or I can just select it. I go to drag, then drag multiple copies. Then I know if you are using the previous versions, the drag command is not here. This is new to the ArchiCAD. We have now all these editing tools right in your interface. So if you are using the lower version, especially 27 downwards, you will have to right click in order for you to access the drag multiple copies. You right click, then go to move and drag multiple copies. I don't know why ArchiCAD doesn't introduce the command or shortcut key for this. It would be helpful if they can do that. So click on this, and then I'm going to drag it. The spacing will be 2 meters, will be long, 1.5. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm gonna use 1.5. This will be 3 meters. 4.5. Okay, something like that. And then I will select this in 3D by hitting F5. Then let's Control G to group them. Like I said, it's a best practice. It's always advisable to group elements that are on the same either tool or category or section. So it's very key for future selection. So let's go back to our section. Then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this to the other side. Control Shift D in your keyboard to mirror it to the other side, right? We have it there. Yes, and then we can complete the remaining part by duplicating the other ones. I can pick this 2 because I will need 3 there. Control Shift D, I'll use this as a copy point to this one. Right, perfect. It's nicely done. Normally the ones that are at the end, you would want them to be or at least relatively close to the tip or to the edge or to the roof ridge, so that you can easily install your roof ridge without having any issues. Okay, so if on this one here, we're going to also have the purlins as well. So I might as well copy this one. Control Shift D, put it here. Let's rotate it by clicking on one of the points. Rotate it to be that way, 90 degrees. Control D, move it somewhere there. I don't think for this one. Okay, let me just make a copy all the way to there and see on 3D. Right click, show all in 3D. All right, I think we are pretty much assembled the roof structure. So what we need now is to place the gutter. We'll have the gutter that will run on top of this beam, but the gutter will take its support. It will take its supports from the wall. We're gonna build an internal wall again. I mean, for the wall internally or within the space of our columns. So I will have a gutter that will run across these 3 columns, to collect rainwater or stormwater from the roof down to the roof, down to the ground level with the down pipes. So we will have to create that at some point. So now we can go ahead and place the roofing sheets. So go back to the top view. There are pretty much several ways of creating roof sheets in ArchiCAD. You can use the roof tool or use an object. In this case, I will use the object. Let's activate the object and then open its settings. Next, we're going to search for cladding. How do you spell cladding? No. Or just search for sheets. Yes. And then we have this profile sheets. I'm going to change the profile to whatever preferred profile. Then what else again? There's really nothing much I could do with these ones because they are dependent on the supplier or manufacturer's specification. So I'll move ahead to the next page and then set the angle to 23 degrees and hit OK. Let's place our roof sheets. So you need to be very mindful with the back side of your sheet. I think this is the back side of the sheets. So if you can also confirm on your 3D to see. Yes, you could see the slope, and I can position it from the 3D to there. What a bit. Okay, let's do it on the appropriate floor or view. So Control D, move it right on the edge of your purlins like that. And then you can now pick one of the corners and then stretch it all the way. Stretch it all the way, I think all the way to somewhere there. Check on the section. Let's position it right on top of our purlins like that. Oh, need to move it a little bit. Something like that. It has to go all the way to right there. Yeah. Let's go back to the view, then stretch it all the way to there. I would also, let's do it on the other edge. Okay, the side I might just move it like that. Okay, let's confirm the positioning again on 3D. The side, it has to overlap a little bit. It has to overlap a little bit. Maybe we can do it just here. I'll pick it from there to there. Yes, and then our gutter will come here, and then let me just sketch so that you can. Our gutter will be like so. Then we'll go underneath between the purlin and the roofing sheets. Right. So let's appreciate this on 3D. Nice. Okay. So on here is going to be a different approach because we want to create also clear story windows here. So ArchiCAD, the only way to place windows is by hosting them using walls. So we're going to create a wall there that will mimic the is it going to be ideal? Yes, that will mimic the roof profile. So let's do that. I'm gonna go there and then activate the wall tool, set it to be basic profile, and then set the material to steel structural, and the thickness will be, for now, will be 50. And I will unlink the top part, set the height to be 1.2, then place the wall. place it from there all the way to this point. Right click, hit OK. Let's confirm this on the section and position it. Right, I'm gonna position it right on top of our it's always good practically to align things like this, to overlap elements, especially to, you know, you don't want to promote seepage of water. So if it's like this, it's better, because when water floats here, it drops around and then flows with the roof profile. Unlike if this was the one that overlaps down and then this stops here, that could create a seepage of water within the roof structure. So always be mindful with that. So I can stretch the height of the wall all the way to there. Then make sure it's nicely positioned like that. You can drop it down if you want, and then use element operation to add this as a target, and then the roof will be the operator. I'm going to subtract with downward extrusion as an operation, then execute, so that you can have this clean cut, right, or clean joint. So that means this needs to be right somewhere there in order for it to support this material. Perfect. And then we're going to have a flashing treatment here, where you will have a piece of a metal sheet that is going to be laid like that to prevent water seepage here. Okay, so I think let me just get rid of these sketches for now. Okay, I'm going to copy this, mirror it to the other side. Let's mirror and Control D, take it to right there. Make sure the positioning is the ideal one. I'm going to overlap it like that a bit, then go to the plan view and stretch this all the way to there. That was too much. Okay, this needs to be a clean connection, something like that. I will have to stretch this a little bit so that once if you go to the section, we're going to cut it. So either we're using this, I'll prefer you to use this element because it's already on the sloping side. Water can easily flow on this direction, unlike this one is the one that goes up like that, and then we trim it off there. So I'm going to extend the projection. It's a bit too much. Okay, pretty much. And also here we are going to have more like a flashing detail, like so. I'm going to have a flashing detail like so to treat that, or to avoid water going through the spaces. Okay, and then let's select this as a target. Then we're going to use this as an operator. Execute with the operation of subtraction with upward extrusion, so that we clear cut that, even though I didn't expect it to be like this, but anyway, it's pretty much okay. Perfect. So let's appreciate this in 3D. We have something like that. You could also use this different material if you want for this element, or use the same material. I think in this case, because I've used different elements, it would be ideal for me to use maybe a different material. So yeah, I'll leave it the way as it is, like that. Then let's place our clear story windows. I'm not sure we should be able to see the wall from the roof plane here. Apparently there are too many things here. I think it's because of the line type of the hatch. So if you go back to its settings after selection, we need to change the line type. Let's click here and say representation and material. 2D should be full resolution, right? And then I don't want it to be dashed. Line type should be solid. Let's see, 3D detail, let's make it full as well, then hit OK. Yes. If you don't want to see elements that are underneath, you can also choose to have a background screen. Especially you can do it on the floor plan and section, and we'll have to I think you can also do it here by overriding the line types, right? No, it's not gonna work. Let's go back to the settings, and then here within the representation and materials, let's set the fill background to be a window screen or a screen like that, and then we can right click this and bring to front. Perfect. So we are having a little bit of a problem. We can't see our wall. We can't locate our wall. So we'll have to, because we need to place the clear story windows within the wall. So let's see, where is the wall is being leaked? Roof. So it's going to be on the apex. Yes. So on the apex we can see the wall. It's here. It's a pretty good thing. And then let's activate the window tool. Open its settings. Then let's search for, I'm looking for vent windows. With the recent version, we have this ventilation brick. It came with ArchiCAD 28. I haven't used it. I haven't tried it out. It seems to be a pretty good piece of information. A piece of library. You see here we can have different styles of your bricks, which is a pretty good thing. This is a good thing. All right. Let's say. So I guess this profiles will be multiplying along the height of the wall. Okay, what I'm looking for is something like this vent windows. Unfortunately, we don't have it with ArchiCAD 28. So maybe let me see if I can have something different. Something different. Wow. I don't want to download that one because it will take time for us to get it. So I wanted to use something that is off the shelf and straight away and place it. So maybe I can utilize these patterns, right? And set the width. The height should be 600. Width 21.8 is fine. And then let's move on to the other. This 145. Okay, we need to set up the, like I said, I haven't used this tool before, but I'm figuring out with you guys, which is a good thing. 1.8, 600. I think this for now. We have to test it out first. I have the style selected. What I'm looking for is the material. I was looking for the material, which is paint surface. Okay, let's place it and see the results. Let me see on 3D. Why is not? Okay, let's drop it down to 200. I'm gonna drop it down to 0 or even negative 200, something like that. Okay, now it's affecting this beam or the purlin, so I might drop it down by maybe 200. Yes, somewhere here. It's perfect. Okay, pretty impressive. So I can multiply this along the length of my roof. So I'm going to activate this elevation so that I can do the multiplication. Or just Control M, mirror a copy to the other side. Or that could only happen on 3D, but here they are not showing. It's been selected, but it's not showing on the floor plan. I don't know what's going on with this. So let's say Control Shift M and mirror it to the other side and see what will happen. Control Shift M. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna open the elevation. I would want to have another one by the center of the building. Yes, something like that. Let's move ahead and create the wall structure of this building. But before we do that, I want to change the material of this. I don't like the way it's been represented on this one. So I'm going to select it and open its settings. Next, we're going to go down on the model section and set up and override all the surfaces. Let's just do that and click on the arrow to find siding. I'm going to select the siding medium, make sure all the materials are been linked, then hit OK. So that's what I want to have here. And then the other thing that I need to do is to it's no brainer to support the floor slab by introducing some intermediate columns. So I'm going to do that on the ground floor, because as it is, the span of the floor is, I think it's roughly 14 meters, which obviously with the help of structural engineer it will require some intermediate support. So I'm going to go to the ground floor and pick one of the column here. Control Shift D to make a copy. I'm going to pick it from the midpoint and go across and find 14 meter wide. The midpoint will be 7 meters. I'm going to place it here. Then let's Control Shift D to carry a copy over to that side as well. We'll need another support there. Perfect. I think on the 3D it will go all the way. We don't want it to go all the way, especially on, well, I think this side is wrongly placed. I might delete it like that. So this one is the one that I need to adjust its height to be underneath, because it needs to carry the load from the beam to down to the ground. And then of course for the foundation you would need also the support. So I'm going to go to the foundation, Control Shift D to carry a copy of this into this position. Perfect. I wanted to have another support on this point from this side, so we can do the same. So I'm going to go to the ground, I'm into the foundation floor. Let's copy this footing to the other side. Then I'm gonna go here again on the ground, Control Shift D to create a copy like that. Perfect. We can decide if we want this column to run all the way to the roof level. So I don't know, that would be determined by, yeah, it can go all the way like that, just to create an extra support for your structure. All right, perfect. So we can move forward with the the placement of the wall structure. So in order for us to achieve that, we're going to use a composite to create this, right? So before we place a wall, let's create the composite. I'm going to go to options menu, then element attributes. Next, click on the composite window. This will pop out. By default, ArchiCAD will have a list of a bunch of composites here to use and take advantage of. So in this case, I'm going to create a new composite from scratch. So let's click on new down below of the window, and then set this to be I would say wall structure for the sake of this demonstration. Then I don't want to duplicate, rather have a new. But then if you can, I think this is I tend to be making this mistake more often. So if you had to change this duplicate to new, you lose your newly created naming. So I'm gonna copy it first and then create a new. You see, we lose that. So I'm gonna again paste it there, hit OK. Right, so by default you'll be having one skin within your line of structure. So what you need to do is to insert. We would need 1, 2, 3, 4 skins. So I'm going to just quickly play or insert 4 skins. The first one will be the finish for the exterior, depending on also on the reference line of my wall. So it can be either outside or inside. So but I'll respect this hierarchy. I'll start with the first to be the finish of the exterior, which is going to be more like a cladding. So I'm going to select the cladding material. Unfortunately, with ArchiCAD default template, we don't have the cladding material. We need to set up our own cladding material before we come here. So I'm going to hit OK for now to save those changes, and then let's go back again under options, element attributes. This time around, let's open our building materials. So here we're going to create our cladding material. Cladding material, I think, is going to be on the section of the steel, which is going to be an ideal situation to position this newly created or newly material we're going to create. So I'm going to achieve that, let's select one of the steel material there and then duplicate. So then I'm going to rename this as cladding. Right, and then we're gonna set some few parameters here, like the fill. The fill, we want it to be a corrugated sheet. If we have, I think should be under roof corrugated sheet, man. Okay, and then the other thing that we need to change is the fill, but I think this one, I think it's appropriate for now. So we can hit OK to apply the changes, and then let's go back to our composite element attributes and composite window. So by default we still have that open. So I'm going to set this to set it to our steel cladding material we've created. Then the thickness will be 50, and we have also the brick structure. Now following up, it's going to be the airspace. I'm going to use an airspace. This airspace is going to be 152. This is basically where we're going to house or install the purlins in order to support this steel cladding. We're going to use a different object. We're going to use a beam for that. The same profile we used for our purlins for our roof is going to be the same profile we're going to use for this support of the cladding. So it's going to be the same size. So I'm going to create a space, just space for that. So from the preview here, this is the space I'm talking about. So it's going to be located here and then to support our cladding material. Next to the airspace is going to be the actual brick, which is going to be 250 millimeters thick. Then finally, we're going to create a finish for this a finish for this brickwork, which is going to be around 12 to 15 millimeters thick, and change the material to anything to do with plaster. Let's say plaster lime sand. Right. And then once you're done with this, by default we have just one pen, but graphically or architecturally we would have to have a bit of a value, which is the line weight to this element. So the core brick has to be thick. I'm going to change this pens to be, let's say, 0.35. So it's going to be all pen 7, the brick material and its lines. Okay, the plaster, we're gonna set it around we do have the plaster material here. Let's see, plaster 20. I want to set it around 10 millimeters. This is going to be 142, similar to this, so as to the cladding. Okay, airspace also we're going to have it 152, like that. Then once you're done, finally we can hit OK to apply the changes. Now it's the time for us to place our walls. So this will happen on the ground floor level. You can do it on 3D if you are comfortable of placing elements on 3D, which I don't recommend, because for accuracy and that. So I'm going to activate my wall tool, change the change the structure to composite, then key in or search for our brick structure. Actually save it, structure, wall structure. There we go. Then I'm going to draw it right from here all the way. So I could use the rectangular geometry method to place my wall. Let's do this, then that. Okay, so I could see the reference line should be on the inside, so that this part should be offsetted on the outside. So to achieve that, I will have to change, let's select all the walls and then move the reference line to the inside. Let's see. Okay, I think I need to redraw it again because I need to change the reference line location to the inside before I place the wall. So I'm going to delete, so change to the inside first, then you can draw from the inside, because you want them to flush with the inside of your the columns. Perfect. So this is pretty much what I've envisioned. Let's see on the side. All right, so we can also confirm it on 3D. So the one thing that we need to set is the height of the walls. Let's activate the wall tool so that we can set it to the roof level. Let's set it to roof level. I don't know why it's not going all the way to the roof level. Oh, sorry about that. Let me do this, because we've created this using the wall tool. That's why it was selecting all this. So I need to specifically select this, then set it to roof level, from 0 to roof. Let's open its settings, and then you see this is what hinders this to go all the way to the roof. So I'm going to set this to 0, so that the total height to be 7,000 millimeters, something like this. Okay, I think on this one I'm going to delete it. The one at the back, it needs to go all the way. Let's stretch it all the way to the rooftop. Okay, and then we're going to use it to, we're going to use the roof to trim off, but we need our roofing sheet to extend beyond the line or the thickness of our cladding. So I'm going to go to the roof and adjust that. Where is it? How is going to be? This is the area. Let's stretch this all the way to there. If you go back on 3D, you'd see now we have our roof extending. Let me select this one. Alright, so I'm going to bring solid element operation to, let's select the wall first as a target. Remember, the solid element operation, by default, it will pick the selected element as a target during the operation. So I'm going to right click, connect, then solid element operation. So we have the target there as our wall. Now the operator is going to be the roof. I'm going to add it here as the operator. Then the operation is going to be subtract with upward extrusion. Okay, so from there you can hit execute to trim off your walls like that. We need to do the same to the other side. Let's go back to the roof, then stretch this all the way to there. I can add it as a, take advantage of the selection, add it as a operator. Then we pick the target, add target, then execute. Perfect. So we have this kind of arrangement from the back. Right, it looks great. Now that we have our wall structure in place, let's now resolve the issue of stormwater drainage from the roof. But before we do that, we'll have to create the support, like I said, for our cladding. At the moment, it's just floating without support. You could see we have this gap that has not resolved yet. So this is going to start from the section. And then what I need to do, I'm going to pick one of the elements here, make sure the groups, it's opened by activating it, and then Control-Shift-D to carry a copy. I'm going to carry a copy and then place it right just here. And let's rotate our axis. I'm going to rotate it to be negative 90 degrees, like that. Because we've created this gap to accommodate the width of these purlins, it should perfectly fit like that. Okay, so on 3D you would see now we have our support there. Okay, so now we need to make copies. I'm gonna have another one right on the center of the building, and then another one to the bottom of the building. Yeah, it depends. You can have some intermediate as well supports. It depends on the size of the, something like that. I'm using some measurements. I'm just placing it randomly, but in an ideal world you would want to use proper measurements of spacing your elements along. So just for the sake of this demonstration, don't crucify me with that in the comment section. Okay, let me know in the comment section what you think about this tutorial. If you managed to come to this far, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for hanging around, and I hope this tutorial it will serve its intentions, which is basically to provide value and improve your workflow. All right, so we have our purlins placed. I'm not going to do it around all the building, so I'm going to give it our assignment to complete this. I'm going just to leave it on this side only. All right, so that we can move on to the next item. Okay, so and our section is like this. So it's very important, guys, to understand sections should be more like a blown up views. I'm going to change the section settings and set my scale to 1:50. So let's see, 1:50. Yes, pretty much this. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the other item, which is going to be the apron around the building. So basically the apron will be the one that we use to collect water that is coming from the roof and then down to and easy out to the ground level. If you don't have it, so you are promoting to have a serious problem between your structure and then the ground. So you have always to have an apron that will have a gentle slope to move water away from the building. Otherwise it will seep on your foundations, and then your building will start to experiencing some defects. Okay, so before we do that, I want us to sort out the issue of the drainage, the stormwater drainage. For example, we have to place the gutter and then the downpipe to take down water right down to the ground level. So to do that, let's open the roof plan, and I'm going to activate object. Let's go to its settings, then search for gutter. Then after this, we'll have to select the gutter, then run through its settings. So I can leave the gutter as it is for now. What I need to do is just to I think I'll leave pretty much everything as it is. So maybe the width of it should be 200. Okay, and then let's hit OK for that. Let's place it. I'm going to rotate it vertically. Control D to move it right on the, it should be right on the top of your slab. You can better position this on your section. So let's open the section. Where is it? Gutter. I'm not seeing it. Or the best way is to activate the object tool and then hit Control A. It's not appearing. This is on the roof level, which is at 0. I don't know why it's not showing. Oh, the section is not cutting it, so I need to stretch it all the way. I was wondering what the heck is going on here. So let me just stretch it all the way to there, and then on the section, there we go. We have our gutter there. So this gutter, the detail between the gutter, the joint between the gutter and this steel purlins needs to be very well thought. So I will stretch the height, or just go back to its settings and then set the height to be 200. I want to make it more deeper than this. Then move it at the top there. I think 200 is too much, so I can also pick some measurements here. How deep can I have this gutter? I think roughly around 120 or 125. 120. I'm not worried about the standards of the measurements of this, because it can be pre-manufactured on site. So let's do that. Okay, I'm going to go back again to its settings. These hangers are very important. Okay, there we go. Let's change this to be, I don't know, can we set the angle of the hanger? Yes. So I'm going to set it to 23 because our roof pitch is 23 degrees. And then the position of the hangers also are important. So let's click on here, or maybe I can make it uniform. Yes, just to spread across the length of the gutter. And then hit OK. We should be able to see the hanger this side. So I'm going to mirror it vertically like that, so that, I don't know, is it going, it has to go underneath the roof but on top of the purlin. So I'm going to measure the distance from here to there, which is 144. Let's go back to its settings, and then this is the distance we need to determine. Let's say 10. Let me see something. 17 would do. Yeah, I think this is the best detail I've ever made. You see, we have this line of a steel that goes around. It's a very it is a good practice, ladies and gentlemen, to have your, especially when you're dealing with water. So you'd want to tie it in, and then just to, you know, to make sure what I want seep through this or underneath your roof to the inside of your building. So this is the best way. You can create a blown up detail for this, especially you want to demonstrate the connection between the beam, which is the roof beam, for example, and then the column. Also, you want also to, you know, show the construction methods applied on this joint. There's a lot of things that to communicate here. You have your gutter, you have your cladding, you know, connections, you have your purlins with the roof sheets, then the joints between the column and the beam, the roof beam or the steel beam for your roof, which is pretty an intensive detail. So from here, let's check on 3D and see the result. So what I want from this view, I don't want to see the gutter and the edge of, or the ends of my roof. So I'm going to take this, and then, which is the wall, let's stretch it all the way to this level of the roof. Something like that. Yes. I was supposed to use the gutter to trim off the top ends of this wall, but then it has to be on the same width with that. So I'm going to go back to my section. Yes, there you go. Let's move this right on the edge of our wall like that. I'm going to pick this as an operator. The wall is going to be the target. Subtraction with upper dark solution, I think, is the appropriate operation, because you want to get rid of the top part of the wall. So if you hit execute, yes, now we have our gutter, and it's in line with the cladding material. So normally you will have to create a flashing here, and to be more like this. There should be a flashing like this around the cladding and then the gutter, and it has to be sloping either way. If that is slope, it slopes within the gutter, you know, to direct water or to promote fall of the water, or it slopes on the outside of your building. Okay, let's see the results on 3D. I think we have a little bit of a glitch here of the material, so we need to maybe, okay, this is because of the what you call the hangers of the gutter, but I don't see it as a bad thing. I'll keep it the way it is. Okay, so from this view you won't see your elements. Okay, So I'm going to now move forward and place the the down pipe. I'm going to go back to the plan view. We have, I don't know why we have one point for the gutter. We should be able to have it even around or along the length of our gutter. So to achieve that, let's go to its settings and see. I'm gonna go back here, down pipe hole. Let's click on the down pipe hole section and see we have just 150. It should be on both sides. Let's see on the streamer. I don't know, maybe it's ideal to have it on one side. This is strange. It should give us an option to place, as many holes along the length of our gutter if we want, but it just gives us one point. So okay, for the sake of this demonstration, let me make it 7.6 just to put it around the midpoint of the building, which is somewhere here. I think it's going to be on top of the gutter, the column. I don't want it to be that way. Maybe 7.7, 7.8. Yes, somewhere there. And then I can adjust my section to cut this. Let's check on section. What happened here? I'm seeing we have what happened to our gutter? Okay, I'm going to activate the column, the object 2, hit Control A. That's why it's not active here. This is under interior furniture layer. I don't know why, maybe it's off. Interior furniture here is active. Something strange happened. Oh, it's because of this hole. That's why it's like that. How can we prevent this to happen? Not pretty sure, but we can place a gutter, a down pipe, and see how maybe we can use the down pipe to subtract that. So let's go back to the object and then search for down pipe. I'm going to start with the offset first, right? It's going to be the same size to match my gutter, and then place it like that. Control E to rotate it to the side. Then let's check on the section. Okay, it has to be the other way around. Let's Control M to mirror, or just mirror it that way. I'm gonna move it right. I don't know, I need to position it on the roof plane. Okay, so this will stretch. I'm gonna stretch it from here. Oh no, I will have to do it. What's going on? I can't stretch this, but it's fine. I can just move it like that and stretch it from this side. Like so. Maybe increase the angle up. Maybe this also a bit up. Okay. Well, alright, some of the things are subject for your interpretation. So I'm going to take this select it, and then Control Shift D. We're gonna make a copy. The reason why I'm making a copy because I'm going to utilize the same point of this and change this to a down pipe like that. Yes, you see it's in the same point. I'm just going to move its position and then stretch all the way to the downside, and I'm gonna do the same thing, Control D to carry a copy and put it on the same spot, then change it to the elbow. The elbow needs to be on the outside. I'm gonna mirror it to the outside like that, and then increase the length, move it down, yes, so that water can go out. So let's check on 3D. We have a down spot here. Right, so pretty much what I envisioned, but I'm not happy with this situation here because I was using the gutter to, you know, trim off the ends of the roof, but I'm having this because it's been created by the hole. Unless we select this gutter and get rid of the hole, but we'll need the hole. So let me go back on the, what is this? This is the gutter, yes. Instead of having this, we would say we're not going to have the downspout hole. Then done. So if we check on 3D, this would disappear. But at least we have the position of the down pipe there, which is a good thing. Okay. Alright, that was pretty much it in terms of the structure of this. You can go further and add more details, such as the the vegging. For example, if you want to treat the gap, because you can't leave it this way, you have to apply flashing around.